LTD Media presents Financial Literacy Part 2. Recorded and produced at TOPTUNES Recording Studios. Now here's your host for Financial Literacy, David Samarano.
Hi, I'm David with LTDmedia. Today we're going to be talking about Financial Literacy 1.02. The reason I say 1.02 is recently the CEO and owner, Clint Peak of he's the owner of LTD Media. He's put out some information. That was his first part. It was in regards to compound interest. That's why we had 1.01 out on the social media before. So he's going to piggyback off what he had put out there, and he's going to educate a little bit more. And I'm going to turn the platform over to Mr. Peak so he can continue.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've never called me Mr. Peak until now.
Right opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. We did do part one of compound interest and how important it is. Einstein said it was the most powerful force known to man. And I agree with that. But after playing it for my mother, I've kind of changed my focus on this a little bit because she said to me, and it's so true, most people don't have the money to take advantage of compound interest. So I'm gonna flip this over and discuss compound interest kind of backwards the way most people would discuss it, because it is a great tool if used properly. It can be the ruin of someone if used improperly. A credit card debt running over and over. That's compound interest. That's why some people can never get out of debt, is because the interest just keeps compounding. So what I would suggest to people, we can discuss the formula. We could teach it to any 8-year-old. It works. It's a powerful, powerful component, compound interest is. But unless you've got a little bit of money and discipline to use it, we can talk about it all day and it will never benefit anyone. Okay? So what people should be doing is saving. I'll give you a good example. I've thought about this several times. What has happened in my life that I could use as an example of how compound interest benefited me. I'm a big coffee consumer. I drink a lot of coffee.
It's delicious.
And I used to buy a lot of coffee, and we do a lot of filthy pirate coffee around here. Thank you, Dan. But coffee, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 a cup, depending on where you buy it. You drink 2 or 3 cups, you're up to $10, $12, $20 a day.
Easy.
$200 or $300 a month. At one point, and this was 30 years ago, I started doing the math on how much money I was spending on coffee a day, and it was a couple hundred a month in coffee, and that was a long time ago. And so I bought a little plug-in cigarette lighter. Even though I was traveling, I could make coffee on the run. Bought a $6 can of coffee, and so my consumption went from $200 or $300 a month to $6 a month.
Wow.
Okay, so now I freed up $200 or $300 a month just on coffee consumption. I'm not suggesting that you quit drinking coffee. That's not what I'm doing. Buy a Keurig. Put one in the office. Put one at home. I mean, even though the cost of Keurigs are maybe a couple $100, at $6 a cup, you do the math, how much money you can save. So before we get into the formulas and how important compound interest is, and it is super. Matter of fact, it's one of the few ways that you can really achieve wealth, is your money making money. Most people don't earn enough to be wealthy, if that's your goal. You're getting ready to ask me a question.
So there's a word that you brought up in what you were saying, and I think this is a word that a lot of people have issues with succeeding and doing it and are afraid to admit it. And the word is discipline. Discipline. You knew I was going to say it, right? You got to have that discipline. It's easy to get in the car and go see Starbucks or somebody and go, oh man, I'm going to get a coffee. And then you're hitting $3-4 right off the bat right there. And it's just discipline. Some people's routine is.
And it's changed. Think about what the story I just told. I didn't stop drinking coffee.
No, you just changed your way.
I drank coffee all day long. Matter of fact, I drank more coffee the way I wanted it made. Not every cup of coffee I was buying during that time was a good cup of coffee. There were I'm sure recall, there were a lot of coffees that had been probably cooking all day that I'd paid, $2 or $3 a cup for. So when my mother said, you're kind of missing the boat on to me, when she first saw part one, I'm like, she's actually right. The formula doesn't lie. It is what it is. But unless people can create the discipline or changing of routines and create a little bit of money to invest, if you haven't got money to invest, I don't care if you're getting 100% compounded interest. It's not going to do you any good. So my suggestion for most people, my wife and I have done this for years, I've talked to a lot of people, is you take what you make, whatever that number may be, and you take the first 10%, and that's to be donated. That's to give to your church, to give to organizations, to give the needy, to give the less fortunate people than yourself.
Yeah.
The next 10% is for you. That's yours. You worked real hard. You should be saving that. You should be investing that. It's not going to make you rich overnight, but in the long term, if you're taking 10% out of every check and paying yourself with it next, you're going to be, in 20 or 30 years, as I said in part one,
Yeah.
the problem with compound interest, it's not neat, it's not cool. I hate to use the word, but it's not sexy.
It's not sexy at all.
You know, it's slow, it's boring, but it will work in the long run. It will also work against you in the long run negatively. That's why a lot of people never get out of debt, and that's why so many people retire needing Social Security, because once you reach a point of you're not working any longer, well, you're not bringing an income in, so the only money you have coming is either whatever money you've paid into Social Security or whatever money your money can make long term. This is a really important thing to me. I mean, it's vital. I mean, that especially young people get this information and use it. It can change your life.
Yeah,
It can absolutely change your life.
no doubt about it. And again, with the discipline thing, you know, culture tells us to go after that instant gratification. And that's the discipline that, you know, that's where you got to work on the discipline thing. You can go and finance a car and you'll drive it off the lot that same day. Mind you, you're going to lose a bunch of money as soon as you leave the parking lot. Or you can save, right?
What's Jay-Z say?
You can't afford it twice. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Right? So
Cash.
Cash.
And he means everything.
Yep.
Cars, house, boats, whatever. If you can pay for it a couple of times with cash, if you want it, I would say go ahead and jump on it. But and look, most people can't afford not to finance their first home. I get it.
Yeah.
I get that.
Understandable.
But on the same token, your goal should be to make that minimum, make your payment. I read an article recently about a young couple in Minnesota with 2 children that had a $195,000 mortgage, and they paid it off in 4 years.
Amazing.
They had a commitment. They had the
Discipline.
yeah.
They had the discipline.
Yeah. So I would close by saying this, David. It is
Yeah.
so important. I cannot stress enough. Especially if you're young, start thinking about how you can put a little money aside and start using that money then to create money for yourself. I've had money and I haven't had money, and believe me, it's better to have it.
It's a lot better to have it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well,
Hey, and I want to clear something up real quick at the end of this. David is also the owner of LTD Media. He is the COO. He is very humble, and he takes a back seat sometimes. But without him, this thing would not be possible. This guy is platinum, and so I just want to get that on the record that
backseat
David
driver.
is way more than the guy that just hosts these things on occasion.
Well, Clint.
And I love you, David, by the way. I'll just
Hey,
say it straight
love
up
you,
on
yeah.
record. You're a great guy, and I enjoy doing business with you. It's a lot of
Likewise.
fun, and it means a lot to me to have you on our team.
Likewise. Clint, well, thank you so much for the information you provided to us and the viewers. You know, if we get one person goes, hey, discipline,
Exactly.
and writes it on
Yeah,
a whiteboard
yeah.
somewhere in the house, you know, that's a W. And
Yeah.
If you want to talk more about, you know, finances or your social media marketing strategies or your website, and you have questions, stuff like that, contact us at LTD Media, and we're here to help. All right, thanks. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your views.
Thank you, David.
If you have any interest in being part of some of our future podcasts, reach out to us on any of your favorite social media platforms. Give us a call or check our website out. Thanks again for joining us, and live the dream every day.